Welcome back, YouTubers, to another NXT review with me, Mr. Parkin01, on behalf of the British Fist. I have one thing I just want to mention before I actually get on to reviewing the show itself, and that is that tomorrow night, me and NJ will be doing our preview and predictions for WrestleMania 30. It should be a very interesting video. We're going to talk about the build, how we feel about WrestleMania 30 being a big show, also the Hall of Fame as well, and other such things surrounding WrestleMania 30. It should be an interesting video with some interesting opinions, and you get to see me and NJ together. So that's good for you guys who missed the way the British Fist used to be done, I guess. But it should be a good watch, I guarantee it. Now let's get on to this week's show. If you have any comments on NXT or anything related to NXT, please let me know down in the comment section below. Let's get going. In my opinion, NXT is the only show where starting off with a Divas match is good and actually grabs my attention. You compare that to if a Divas match started Raw or SmackDown or a Knockouts match started TNA, you'd just be like, eh. But with NXT, when a Divas match kicks off, you know it means something, especially when Emma is coming out to a massive pop from the crowd. And Emma is a good character for starting off a show simply because, you know, it's a fun character. Everyone likes Emma. She's very over. And it's just a nice, fun way to open the show. The crowd getting into the dancing and all that kind of stuff. Kind of similar to how Mojo Rawley really should open most shows, because his Stay Hype character is just a great way of getting the crowd into the show straight away. And this match with Sasha Banks that Emma had, it sort of continued from the show after NXT arrival, after she lost to Paige, when Charlotte got the victory over her thanks to Sasha Banks and paper-thin Summer Rae interfering in the match. And, you know, with this match, you can see that she's been doing a little bit of work with Santino on the WWE roster. You can see some of the Santino nuances in her moveset, which is a kind of nice addition. But like most things with Emma, in NXT, it's just nice to see Emma in the ring doing what she does best. She's a great character. The character is fantastic. The character is over with the NXT crowd and, you know, probably will get over with the casual crowd on Raw and SmackDown. But it's just nice to see her go in the ring, because we never really see that on Raw and SmackDown, where she's in dates with Santino and she's being Santino's valet and all that. I want to see more of this Emma in the WWE, so eventually she can go on and maybe even win the Divas Championship. Emma wins this match with the Emma Lock, and I guess this is kind of retribution for getting beat by Charlotte on the show after NXT arrival over Sasha Banks. And, you know, what they're going to do with the Emma character on NXT, probably not all that much, really, because she's now on the WWE roster. I must admit, I also liked how Charlotte wanted a piece of Emma after the match, and even though Emma sort of rolled out the ring, it showed that Charlotte isn't a chicken shit, and she actually wants to go with some Divas, which, you know, compared to most heel characters, isn't usually the case. Also, I said this a couple of times now. Does anyone else find it funny that the BFFs, i.e. Charlotte and Sasha Banks and paper-thin Summer Rae, are getting way more screen time than the champion Paige? It just seems like Paige has got barely any screen time since NXT arrival, when she retained the belt against Emma. And I guess this is being done because they really want to spotlight Charlotte, and they really want to spotlight Charlotte for the next contender for Paige. Maybe they have plans to put the belt on Charlotte and bring Paige up to the roster. You know, we don't really know yet, but they're putting a hell of a lot of focus on the BFS right now, which I guess immediately translates to Charlotte, who's going to be the main contender for Paige's NXT Women's Championship. And, you know, I'm looking forward to that match. They're building Charlotte up. I mean, compared to how she was about 6 months ago, they built her up a hell of a lot more of a believable challenger than they would have done if she went after the belt 6 months ago. Let's just put it that way. You know, after the Divas match, the commentators are going on about, now we're going to get to see the freakish ability of Mojo Rawley and what more he can do. And then the video package lasted about 20-30 seconds and didn't really highlight all that much about Mojo Rawley. I was thinking, you know, bam, what was that? I mean, surely we want to see a bit more of Mojo Rawley, a bit more of what he can do. You know, some more of the stuff that he does, the weights and all this football-related stuff he does. I thought we'd see more of this in this video package. I really thought it would highlight him better, but it really didn't. And it disappointed me a little bit, because I really think the WWE are behind this character, but judging by the way they did this video package, it just kind of seemed meh. And I guess it's good that he's actually getting a video package, and the commentators are actually hyping up the fact that he's going to be in action next week. But I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed by this video package, especially seeing as I think the Mojo Rawley character can be a big character in NXT, and maybe even down the line, if they get that far, on the WWE roster. So a lot of you guys are probably fed up of me going on about how great NXT is right now, but NXT's Achilles heel, in my opinion, is the tag team division. You know, the tag team division is not interesting at all, and it's not because we have bad champions in the Ascension. They're by far the best tag team on NXT. That's the problem. They're the only tag team on NXT right now, and they have no legit challengers. And every week I think to myself, what more can I really say about the Ascension? Because all they're doing is defeating jobbers week after week after week. So I've made this promise. Next time the Ascension face jobbers, I am not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about an Ascension segment on NXT until they actually face some credible opponents or are in actually some kind of NXT Tag Team Champion feud. You can promise your ass on that. I must admit, when I saw that Xavier Woods was facing Brodus Clay, I was thinking, oh God, here we go. But by the time we got to the end of the segment, I was actually kind of interested. I really was, you know. It's funny how this match has kind of been relegated from Raw to NXT. And, you know, it's a shame because they were doing some decent stuff with this on Raw, with the Brodus Clay heel turn. And then they just got stupid with it, as WWE usually do with heels. You know, I don't know whether he's just pissed someone off backstage or something, but he went from being a heel and being in this kind of like mid-card to undercard storyline and then just went off TV. You know, my question is it really that hard to make a guy a monster heel? And I guess the question I really have to ask, it's kind of similar to Ryback and why he's probably not getting a push right now. Has the guy really improved over the last year or two? No, has he, you know, if you compare Brodus Clay to 2 years ago, do you see a massive improvement? You know, you don't really see a massive improvement in Brodus Clay, really, do you? Probably why he's back in developmental, but at least he won this match against Xavier Woods pretty convincingly, and he's now going to be a heel, which is better for him, even though I think they should get rid of the Funkasaurus gear they got on him and just make him a fucking monster heel. Is it really that damn hard? But anyway, turns out Brodus Clay wants to go after the NXT Championship, and this really took me by surprise. You know, I guess it's a different opponent for Adrian Neville. It's a different kind of opponent, a different obstacle for an Adrian Neville. But I do wonder why Brodus Clay would want redemption on the WWE Universe going wrong and everything, his career going wrong. Why would he want redemption by going after the NXT Championship as opposed to being on the main roster and maybe kicking some ass on there? You know, I don't really know. But at the end of the day, it's a different obstacle for an Adrian Neville, and this could be a somewhat decent feud if WWE actually go out of their way to book Brodus Clay as a monster and making Adrian Neville overcome an obstacle, which I'm guessing no doubt they will do. So Brodus Clay going after the NXT Championship, I'm pretty fine with that, because let's face it, it's a guy that's been on the main roster and it could be a semi-legit threat for Adrian Neville, even though he's only just won the belt. As for the promo that Adrian Neville cut after the match, now, usually Adrian Neville's promos aren't really that great, but this promo was actually somewhat decent. No, it was, I thought, and it looks like he's been learning from Cena because we pretty much got the same old, if you want some, come and get some. And you know what, I looked at his ears and, you know, he does look like a bit of an elf, really, doesn't he, Adrian Neville? Man, poor Yoshitatsu, he's on NXT on a week-in, week-out basis, and all he's doing is doing job after job after job. He's basically NXT's residential jobber right now, even though when he was in this match, apparently he was trending worldwide. Don't really know how that works, but Tyler Breeze got the quick win over Yoshitatsu, and I'm really starting to feel sorry for Yoshi. Can we not get him a win on NXT just over someone at least? I thought we had a pretty good main event segment on this week's edition of NXT. Sami Zayn versus Corey Graves ended up being pretty good, and it's the second week in a row, in my opinion, that NXT have put on a good main event, and that helps the show a lot, in my opinion. As for this storyline between Sami Zayn and Corey Graves, you know, I think this main event segment was good, mainly because of a couple of things that I'll talk about throughout this segment, and one of them was the lead up to the storyline and to the lead up to this match. You know, for a feud I wasn't really all that interested in, mainly because it involved Corey Graves. I think NXT have done a good job in building this up and making it kind of personal, you know, with the concussion angle and, you know, Corey Graves just picking Sami Zayn because he just wanted beef with him because he was such a big star on the NXT roster. I think they've done a good job, like I said, in actually building this feud up and making it kind of personal, which, let's face it, doesn't really happen all that much in WWE unless it's a feud going into WrestleMania, of course, or a main event feud in the WWE, and sometimes not even those get real personal issues. And you can see this was personal by the way Sami Zayn was acting, and this is what I liked about this main event segment. It went out of its way to be a good wrestling match, but also tell a story. And you can see that this was getting personal because of the way Sami Zayn was acting at the start of the match. And I did wonder going into this with the concussion angle they highlighted lately, You know, would they use this to give Corey Graves an out, to give him a win? You know, especially with how much they were going on about it on commentary, you kind of knew there'd be something like a concussion related that would end this match. You really did. But this, like I said, told a good story in the ring. And sometimes it's the little things that help go telling a good story, as the Slag Daddy has said many times about wrestling. You know, you had some nice little spots actually with, you know, Corey Graves going after the head consistently. Corey Graves suckering Sami Zayn out to the outside in that spot from the Yoshitatsu match, which got him a win there, which Sami Zayn countered. You had Sami Zayn showing signs of a concussion, you know, swinging like a headless chicken, and the referee consistently checking the eyes. And the match ended when they pretty much bashed heads, and that allowed Corey Graves to get the lucky 13 in. And Zayn actually didn't tap out either, which I thought was pretty good as well. You know, Sami Zayn didn't tap out. The referee ended the match because he didn't think Sami Zayn could continue. So a good way to end the match. Sami Zayn didn't actually lose, but you know, Corey Graves got a win over Sami Zayn, and they played up the concussion angle very well, in my opinion. So a good way to try and get a little bit of heat on Corey Graves, even though I think he's as boring as fuck. But at least this feud is going some way to actually, you know, heightening my opinion of both Sami Zayn and, more importantly, Corey Graves, who I had really no interest in. Although I did find it a little bit strange that after all they've done to highlight this concussion angle throughout the match and the great story that these two actually told in the ring, that after the match, Sami Zayn just seemed okay. You know, I just thought it would have been better if they maybe highlighted this concussion a little bit more, rather than showing Sami Zayn have been okay, especially after the referee ended the match because Sami Zayn wasn't responding or something. You know, maybe this has been done because they don't want to make Sami Zayn look too weak, and they don't want to make it seem like he's got a massive concussion or anything. You know, I don't know. I just thought that if they were going to play off this angle and try and make this feud a little bit more personal, they would actually have Sami Zayn maybe staggering in the ring after the match or something, like he was during the match. It just seemed a little bit weird that after the match he seemed perfectly okay by the looks of it. But anyway, despite that, a pretty damn good way to end the show, I felt. And this week's show overall, I felt was pretty good. I liked the opening segment with the Divas. I thought the main event was very well done. You know, Brodus Clay now being introduced as the challenger to Adrian Neville, and Adrian Neville actually cutting a somewhat decent promo, which doesn't happen every day of the week. So I thought this show was actually pretty decent this week. The only thing this show was lacking was Adam motherfucking Rose. And I swear, NXT, if you don't have Adam Rose on the next damn show, I will complain about it on the internet. That's right, I am fucking copying Fool Killer on this one. I will complain on the internet. I'm sorry, Fool Killer, I didn't mean to copy you. But anyway, if you have any thoughts on this week's edition of NXT, please let me know down in the comment section below. Also, make sure you check out our WrestleMania preview, which is going to be up tomorrow on Friday night. And I hope you enjoy WrestleMania weekend as well. Thank you very much for watching this review. I will be here same time next week again from me, Mr. Parkin, and of course the British Fist. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.